All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a massive power shift in the world of AI. For what felt like an eternity, there was one company, OpenAI, sitting on the throne. But then, a pretty shocking memo from inside the castle walls showed that a challenger had not just arrived, but was already shaking the ground beneath them. And it all kicks off with this. This is a line from a memo sent by OpenAI's CEO, Sam Altman, a guy who usually radiates this aura of, unstoppable confidence. He told his team to brace for rough vibes and admitted they had some catching up to do. Now, for a company that has always acted like it's 10 steps ahead of everyone else, this was a huge shock. So you have to ask, what on earth could have Sam Altman worried? And let's be clear, this was a really big deal. I mean, this is an industry that just got used to the idea of OpenAI being light years ahead. So this was a watershed moment. It was the first time the leader admitted, even just to their own team, that they weren't the undisputed champ anymore. They were in a real race now, and suddenly they were the ones playing catch-up. So what was the cause of all those rough vibes? Well, it was Google's brand new AI model, Gemini. And this wasn't just some minor update, no. This was a massive technological leap forward that all of a sudden put Google right there, neck and neck with OpenAI. On some really important tests, it was even ahead. The sleeping giant had, well, it had officially woken up. And just look at how decisive this was. Gemini didn't just perform well, it absolutely smashed key benchmarks. It shot straight to the top of the leaderboards, and for the first time in a long time, all the genuine excitement, all the buzz in the industry, it wasn't about OpenAI. Google had somehow achieved what you might call model sexiness, a vibe that until then had belonged exclusively to OpenAI. To really appreciate just how wild this reversal is, you have to remember this quote. This was back in early 2023. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella was feeling pretty good about his partnership with OpenAI, and he said his goal was to make Google dance. And you know what? For a while, it worked. Google was totally on the back foot, just reacting to everything OpenAI did. But oh my, how the tables have turned. In this incredible reversal, Google isn't the one dancing anymore. Now it's leading the dance. Google is setting the tempo, and it's forcing OpenAI to react and scramble just to keep up. And here's where it gets really crucial. Google's comeback didn't just challenge OpenAI's technology, it actually exposed two huge vulnerabilities in OpenAI's entire business model, what Altman himself even called economic headwinds. And this lays it out perfectly. OpenAI is suddenly fighting a war on two fronts. First, there's the consumer threat. You know how we say I'll Google that? Well, ChatGPT was becoming a verb too. If people start saying I Gemini'd that instead, OpenAI's cultural dominance could just evaporate. And then there's the deeper economic threat. See, Google builds Gemini on its own custom super efficient chips. But OpenAI, they have to get in line and pay a fortune for NVIDIA's GPUs, the same chips everyone else is fighting over. This puts their entire financial model under massive pressure. So when you see a company that everyone kind of wrote off as being hopelessly behind suddenly catch up like this, it raises a massive question for the whole industry. It really changes the entire nature of the competition. And the answer seems to be that we're quickly moving into a new era where the AI models themselves are becoming commodities. Basically, having the best model just isn't the killer advantage it used to be. The tech is moving so fast that pretty soon, almost everyone's model is going to be good enough. And this is where it gets really dangerous for everyone else. Because if the fight isn't about who has the absolute best tech anymore, but about who can plug that tech into the best products with the biggest reach, well, that's a game Google was literally built to win. Think about it. They can put this stuff into search, maps, workspace, products that billions of people already use every single day. Now, Google CEO Sundar Pichai didn't just stumble into this. He pulled off this massive, decisive restructuring of the whole company. First, he took their two elite and kind of competitive AI labs, Google Brain and DeepMind, and he smashed them together into one focused team. Then, and this is key, he made that AI group the engine room for the entire company. It wasn't a side project anymore, it was the core. And from there, they could pipe their best models directly into all their major products. And boy, did it work. You know you've done something right when even your rivals have to admit it. A source at another AI lab, using some colorful language, said that after the change, decisions at Google got made way faster, and the quality of their tech just increased dramatically. So, a high stakes battle like this between two giants doesn't just stay in Silicon Valley, right? It sends huge shockwaves out into the financial markets, and it got investors to start seriously rethinking this whole AI boom. So, check this out. NVIDIA, which is kind of the bellwether for the entire AI market, reported another quarter of just absolutely insane, record breaking earnings. Normally, news like that would send the whole market soaring. But this time, something really weird happened. The stock jumped up 5% right when the market opened, but then it did a complete 180 and ended the day down 3%. I mean, that's a shocking reversal, and it signaled that a deep, sudden fear was starting to spread through the market. For really the first time, people on Wall Street started to look past the hype and began asking some really hard questions. Questions like, wait a minute, is this all just a shell game where big tech invest in startups who then just give the money right back to them by buying chips? Can these startups actually afford the billions in hardware they've ordered? And are these company financials really as rock solid as they look? The hype was finally starting to meet reality. So what's the big picture here? When you boil it all down, you can see the AI landscape has fundamentally changed. The biggest piece of the pie is just a massive increase in competition. But right behind that is way more scrutiny from the markets, a shift in focus to products over pure tech, and the fact that the models themselves are becoming commodities. The takeaway is pretty simple, really. The era of one single unchallenged king of AI is over. Done. The days of one company having this insurmountable lead are gone. And what's replaced it is a new, much more competitive and honestly way more volatile chapter, where the battle for AI supremacy is completely wide open. And this all leaves us with the ultimate question, right? Are we just watching healthy competition that's going to push innovation forward for all of us? Or are we feeling the first tremors of a much more painful market correction that could shake the entire AI industry to its very foundations?